Old Fashioned Football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code OFFSGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm.
Hey, what's up? This is Sam Acho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old-fashioned football.
You make this deal right now, you pancake-eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old-fashioned football.
Welcome to Old Fashioned Football. If you're wondering who you listen to, this is J Mark. You can find me in the X at J Mark Football. And if you're wondering who us is, that's at Old Fashioned FB. You can find us on the X at Old Fashioned FB, which I obviously just said. Before I keep going to talk about fantasy football start sits and some best bets, I got to introduce my co-host on the pod and in life. You can find her on the X at the Mark. Mer, how you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
Not too bad. I think it's funny that sometimes I guess all times we open these with "How you doing today?" as if I have not talked to you at all today. But you know,
You might
works.
not have. They don't know.
There are
Maybe
some
we don't
days
talk.
that we don't talk. It feels like when you're busy with work and stuff, and I'm busy, and it's just like we're two passing ships in the night or something. And then we get together to talk fantasy football and whiskey. What could be better? The answer is
Right?
nothing. But yeah, it's week 10.
It is.
Which means playoffs are like 4 to 5 weeks away.
I know. Hopefully everybody's getting in a good position to be ready for playoffs.
Playoffs? You want to talk about the playoffs?
I always want to talk about the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, depending on your league settings, check those out so you know when playoffs start. That's important. You know,
Mhm.
Scott Fishbowl, you got 2 weeks left before the playoffs. I say you, even though I am in it, I don't have a chance unless I score a lot of points over
Oh,
these
you
next 2
don't?
weeks.
Is that why you've been harassing me? Like,
Yeah,
you-
I'm vicariously living through your
you
team.
can't even see my team, but you've been like, you better make sure you're set up good for this week.
Well,
You better perform well this week.
I can't see
I've
your
been doing
team.
great.
You have been. I can't see your team, but every week when the newsletter comes out through
Mhm.
email, I can look your team up and I can see your record. I can see your points scored.
Ah.
I can see points scored against
Well,
you.
I'm not going to talk about I'm not jinxing myself because it happens, but I'm good.
Knock on wood. Yeah, I mean, I know in multiple leagues because playoffs are approaching, I need a win. So I'm sure some of you need a win. Other leagues, I'm just wanting to keep winning so I can keep that number 1 seed. Cough, cough, 101 of Dynasty. If you missed Monday, and if you missed last
Mhm.
Monday, this is our first sit show in the past 2 weeks because
Start shit show.
Start shit show. Yeah, we're starting the shit show because we traveled up to the niece and nephew for Halloween, and then I was sick, so we didn't get to do last week's. But that means we get 2 drinks. If you heard Monday, and Miranda, what are we drinking today?
Well, I made the old fashions today.
Yes, you
So
did.
I'm today's bartender. I haven't made a drink in a while. But we are drinking an old fashioned with Basil Hayden's Subtle Smoke that we reviewed 2 weeks ago on Monday. And then what we reviewed this Monday. So we have an old fashioned with Basil Hayden red wine cask finish.
Yeah.
You can go check out either of those reviews in our whiskey section on YouTube.
Yeah, and just I mean, if you didn't know, if you're new to the program, we do talk whiskey. The idea is eventually we're going to be doing this at our downstairs bar when we redo the bar. So if you want to contribute to that,
The brass giraffe.
the brass giraffe, feel free to send us a little coinage, especially if you're following our bets and winning. A little tip, just a little tip here, just the tip. I don't know. Or, contact Sean and Kramer at the Sports Gambling Podcast and just let them know. I love this show so much. We need more episodes or something so that, we can keep building this because I think it'll be, I love the look of the shelves that you put together for me behind me in my office. I like the jerseys, but I think the aesthetics of being able to sit at a bar maybe not that I don't like being close to you,
This does bother
but
me.
being a little
Not the
farther apart.
closeness, but we
Yeah,
need a.
we're a little scrunched here. And
right.
I think, yeah.
Getting
Go
back
ahead.
to the whiskey.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
tried the one with subtle smoke. I tried
did.
the one with the red wine. What did you think of the subtle smoke?
It was good. I don't think it stood out a ton. That's
Mhm.
just my
Oh.
initial reaction on one drink, though.
It does.
You think it does?
Mm-hmm. There's a smokiness to it.
This one I can tell. I mean,
You
there's a
can?
difference in this.
No,
What did you think of these?
I liked the red wine after I tried the red wine and then the subtle smoke, and I can tell the smokiness in it.
Oh, really?
Try it now.
Okay, let me try again. Which one do you like better?
The subtle smoke.
We discussed this a little bit before. I think I get what you're saying now a little bit. We discussed this a little bit before because whichever drink is placed in front of me is going to get drank quicker
Mhm.
because I tend to drink them a little bit quicker than you do. So
If I'm talking, I'm not drinking. So
Right,
there's
yeah.
a problem there.
Yeah.
Which one is your favorite?
I would agree that I believe the smoke is my favorite.
Man, that's what I predicted would be, and I predicted mine would be the red wine. But I think the red wine is not that the whiskey was sweet.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, it did have a sweetness to it. We decided it was like a sweet red wine.
Yeah, it did. It was. And I don't taste a sweetness necessarily with it, but
But I like the subtle
the
smoke
subtle
more.
smoke's a little bit better.
So who gets what? We just share them.
I'll take this one. I think they're both good, for sure. So, anyways, let's catch up with the chat real quick.
do
R
it.
Mark saying, "Hey, you're both looking good. Thank you. Feeling
Thank you.
good." Nick Fortune saying, "I'm sitting Cole Kmet this weekend. I can't trust the Bears offense right now. I think that's an
I
excellent
think you need to
decision."
sit him. So good choice.
Kathy saying, "Me too. It's sad. Nick is going to help us build the bar. He has a hammer. We
That
have seen that
actually,
hammer.
we need a hammer to demo. We have hammers, but we need your hammer, his little hammer, to demo.
I
If you
swear
want
we're
to
talking about
come,
an actual tool. This is not code for anything. We don't need your little
our
hammer.
current bar needs demoed.
Yes, yeah. We'll safely remove the whiskey bottles on it first. And Bloated saying, "Hey, from the UK." I think it says Bloated. Hey, from the UK. Welcome to the channel. We appreciate
Yes,
you
welcome.
all the way. What part of the UK are you from, and
Yeah.
what brought you to Old Fashioned Football? I'm curious because I don't think we've had somebody in Canada
No.
before, but I don't think we've had UK.
You said that wrong. We've had somebody from Canada before.
Yeah. I started stopping, and
Let's-
yeah, we've had somebody from Canada. We've had somebody from Ireland, but I don't know about whereabouts you are in the UK. So yeah. Before we keep going, just let you know, college basketball is back. And if you aren't already subscribed to the College Basketball Experience for their daily picks podcast, breaking it all down, obviously Colby, the Dantabase, and Moneyline Mac do a great job with that. Noah chimes in. They do an awesome job. So make sure you check them out. And then obviously, thank you for always tuning in, or thank you always for tuning in. I don't know what I'm saying over here, to Old Fashioned Football. If you can head on over to Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. Really helps us out. It helps in the algorithms. I don't know what an algorithm is. I kind of do, but I don't know how it helps, but it does. So we would really appreciate it. It helps us fight the big guys because we're the little guys, and it helps us fight the big guys.
And speaking of those readings, it is our show where we will be announcing a winner giveaway that we did for the month of October.
Yeah.
I almost said September. It started the last week of September.
Yeah, absolutely.
So stay tuned. We'll get to that at the end of the show.
We will. Bloated is in Manchester, just browsing for advice and hopped on. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. We're going to be answering questions as we go along. First, we're going to cover a little bit of the injury report, which I will say subscribe to our YouTube and watch for the shorts because these injury reports,
they're getting released later and later.
Yeah, they are. These coaches are really playing a little bit of mum's the word.
Mm-hmm.
And then it is also this time of the season where a lot of guys aren't practicing every single practice. They know their assignments. It's later in the season. They want to keep them healthy. And so all of a sudden you see a question mark and you're like, oh my gosh, are they questionable? Are they hurt? No, they just sat out. And so it just says did not practice. And that's what the apps do. They mark them as questionable or whatever. So,
well, speaking of that, I mean, we have an updated injury report for you guys. We'll be talking some start sits. We've got our Underdog Fantasy picks.
Yeah.
And some best bets later on. I'm going to go ahead and run through this updated injury report really quick.
Sounds good. I'll sit back and relax.
Sit back and relax. We've got Drake London still questionable with that hip pointer. Keon Coleman is likely going to miss this week with that wrist injury. And then a couple expected to play players. Nico Collins is expected to be back. Nico Collins. He's expected to be back this week.
Yeah.
And then Christian McCaffrey. This, like, they're saying they are not going to publicly announce this until game time, but he
Yes.
is expected to be back. I know I'm getting excited seeing him on some of my leagues in Sleeper, where he's projected some pretty big points for me, and
I
I'm
know.
really.
Keep in mind he may be limited.
I know,
That's
but
the thing. Like, do you think he comes back to a
well,
full workload?
I thought that his practice went perfectly fine with no pain and everything.
They said no pain.
Yeah.
But then,
So
and then I saw multiple reports saying Christian McCaffrey's making his return, but in the press conference, Kyle Shanahan literally said publicly, we're not announcing that until game time, which he was shady about this injury from the get-go. So it's hard to trust him of what they're doing.
I know. So we'll be watching that very closely.
Watching you, Wazowski,
to see if he'll be playing. But I'm excited that he's finally coming back.
Yeah. And the Nico Collins one is huge for anybody that has Nico Collins on their team. I made a big trade. I gave away 3 decent players to do a huge upgrade at wide receiver. And then he managed to get injured that was a week after. So
these are injuries that, like, well, especially CMC was like the 101.
Yeah. CMC went a lot.
To be out for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
9 weeks if he comes back this week.
It's been rough. Now, Sean Stacking the Money Green at the Sports Gambling Podcast will tell you that he told you so, because he said from the get-go that CMC would not play. Nick Fortune, our 49ers expert, who is a 49er fan, said he would wait 1 week for CMC.
If he's playing, I'm starting him.
Yeah.
How do you not?
You have to, because it's CMC.
I'm not. He's back. Even if he's a little limited, you can't. He is too talented to sit.
I agree.
You're not gonna, if you have like Jordan Mason. Well, isn't Jordan
Mason's questionable right now too? Yeah.
Well, either way, the other running backs are not going to give you points, so you can't rely on them. You have to start CMC.
Yeah, I agree. Bloated saying, looking forward to watching CMC again, but not happy to go against him in a couple of weeks. Understand that. Who's your team, Bloated? Which NFL team do you go for? And then Jamie saying, hello, beautiful people.
Jamie.
And J Mark. What's up? I accept that. Should we let's tell everybody a little bit, because we're not giving out our lineups yet. Giving a little bit about Underdog Fantasy, though.
Of course. We are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. We're talking NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, and more. Boost Over is no longer upon us. So
I guess October is over, isn't it?
Yes. I was just about to go into Boost Over. No, Boost Over is gone. But we're going to be giving out picks here for tonight's game in a little bit, so stay tuned. But in the meantime, go sign up with promo code OFFSGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Again, that's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code OFFSGPN.
All right, we're back. Threw you there with a little boost
yes,
over.
I was. Oof, that's not the. That did not get updated from October.
No. Bloated saying, wish you could use Underdog. Looks so much better than the equivalents in the UK. You and me both, because apparently in Iowa you can gamble on sports. You can play fantasy football, but you can't play the fantasy apps that involve money. So we can't use Underdog here in Iowa. Now, every state around us, we can drive to them and use it. Which we're not too far from. We're kind of smack dab in the middle of Iowa, but it's just weird how the states here, you have, I think it's 42 of them, I think, allow Underdog, but Iowa doesn't. I don't get it. It all comes down to politics, I guess. And we've had enough of politics, so we're not going to get into it.
Moving on.
Moving on. I knew you weren't going to allow any political talk here. So, I think we should just jump right into our Underdog Fantasy lineups for tonight. What do you think?
Sure. I mean, we said later on, and later on is here. Apparently,
it is.
You're
later than when you read that. I'm just saying.
You're throwing me here. Let's do it.
All right. I'll let you lead the way.
Okay. So my Thursday night pick'em I have Lamar Jackson higher than 24.5 first half rushing yards. The Bengals are last in the league in rushing yards allowed to the quarterback. I think Lamar is going to run early and often tonight. Then I have Jamar Chase higher than 16.95 fantasy points. The Ravens are one of the worst teams against the pass, and Chase has gone over this 5 of the last 7 games. I've got Mark Andrews higher than 3.5 receptions. Bengals are 25th versus the tight end position, and Andrews is getting more involved and has gone over this in 3 of the last 5 games. And for my last pick, just giving you guys 4 tonight, I've got Mike Gesicki higher than 52.5 receiving yards. I mean, he's hit this in it's just 2 games, but he is going to be involved in this game. So I feel good about that one. $10 pays you $90 with a flex entry. If you hit all 4, you'll get 54. If you get 3 of them, you'll get 15.
Yeah, I like those a lot. I see you only did 4. I did decide to do 5 here. A little riskier too. So I got Lamar Jackson. I agree with you that he's going to run. I went with a little different route. 14.5 is his longest rush higher. I think he has a long scamper of 20 to 30 yards there. Joe Burrow, 1.5 passing touchdowns higher. The Ravens defense, not that great against the pass, and Burrow threw 5 last week, not yesterday, last week. Jamar Chase, 9.5 targets higher. He's had higher than these targets in 2 of the last games, or in the last 2 games. Derrick Henry, 18.5 rush attempts higher. I think the Ravens are going to want to run the ball on this Bengals defense. And then Mark Andrews, you mentioned he's getting more and more involved. It was weird at the beginning of the season. We thought he was cooked. And now all of a sudden, the last 4 weeks, he's the 4th ranked tight end in total points. I think he gets a touchdown tonight. Spoiler alert, you're going to hear me talk about that again later with our best bets. $10 pays $202. If you want to do a flex entry, all of them will equal 101, or 4 will pay $34.10. And you can get in on that action at Underdog Fantasy using promo code OFFSGPN. All right. No questions right now. Oh, we do have questions. Nothing on Flowers leads to my selection question. Obviously, UK based, so we have smaller leagues. I'm in an 8-man PPR, and I've got to pick one between Zay Flowers or Puka Nacua, and I'm 50-50. I think Flowers is going to have a good game. I do think he was. I didn't like any of the lines because he's a guy that it seems like often he hits right on those. I think Puka is going to have a really good game, though.
I don't know how you – I would have to go Puka.
Yeah, it's hard to say
opinion.
Either of those, but I think that Puka is upset that he let the team pushing somebody and kicked out.
That I'm upset.
Yeah.
So he better be upset.
And the week before that, when he came back that first week, he was a target machine for Stafford. So I think Puka is going to have a big game. I think he wants to show everybody, hey, I'm sorry. Let me make up for it. You agree with that
absolutely.
Too? All right. Jamie says, want to see my bets? Of course you do. Of course I do. Mark Andrews over 43.5 yards, likely is out. Some more targets for Andrews. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people hype Charlie Kohler, the 3rd string tight end. I don't necessarily think he's going to get that much. Bengals also allow 7th most yards to tight ends and 7th most receptions. Under 58.5 rushing for Chase Brown. Ravens are 2nd best in the league versus the rush. Yeah, I'm worried about his performance tonight because I have him in a lot of leagues. You've heard us tout Chase Brown a lot before, so I do worry about that. But also Chase Brown, 25+ receiving yards. I like that as well. Bloated saying wanted some assurance on Puka. Yeah, I think you got to go Puka.
I think you're safe.
Yep, absolutely. They probably will both have good games, likely. But yeah. Should we talk a little start sits? Well, Jamie, keep your bets coming if you got them. Place them in the chat there. We love to see them. But I don't think there's anything wrong with just jumping right into our start sits here. What do you think?
No, let's do it.
All right. I will, as always, I'll let you start the starts, and I'll start the sits. How about that?
That, I guess, works. All right. At quarterback, I have Sam Darnold. The Jags have been giving up a bunch of passing yards, and I think Justin Jefferson is going to have a huge day because they mainly play mainly man. I'm trying to think of how to word this. And
they do a lot of man coverage.
Yeah. And he's been killing defenses that are in that man coverage.
Yeah, for sure. And just remember, if you're new to the show, these are players that maybe you're thinking about starting them anyways, but we think they're going to overperform their projections. The sits are players we think are going to underperform. Now, sometimes there's a sit that you just can't sit because you're not going to sit DeAndre Hopkins for a fifth string wide receiver or something, obviously. But that's not one I was going to give out. But I would sit DeAndre Hopkins against Patrick Surtain. But anyways, we're talking starts. Let me get back on track here. Daniel Jones. You told everybody to pick him up last week or this week earlier in the waivers. I think this is a great time to start him. He's coming off a really good game, fantasy football wise. He had 54 rushing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and now he goes against the Panthers, who we all know are not all that good.
No.
So I think you start Dan Jones.
It's a safe. I think that's a safe start.
Yeah, I think you start a lot of your Giants players if you can.
Yes. Well, speaking of that, running back, I have Tyrone Tracy. He has been an absolute stud after he started filling in for Singletary, and he's taken the job, earning more snaps than Singletary. He's going against the Panthers team that just let Kamara run for 155 yards. So I think that Tracy should have a big day.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I also like DeAndre Swift. Swift is quietly been playing very well. Chicago Bears offense has looked a little hit and miss now and then, but Swift has been playing very well. He's a top 12 running back in points per game in the past 4 weeks. He's only played 3 of them due to the bye week, so he wasn't in the top 12 for total points, but points per game he was. And he's running against the Patriots. That may not be the easiest, but this is a guy that also contributes in the passing game, so I think he's going to get points that way.
Yeah. All right, at wide receiver, I've got Darnell Mooney. We don't know if Drake London is going to miss this game due to that hip pointer injury. However, if he does play, Darnell Mooney has been playing really well. He and Kirk Cousins have developed some of that OChem.
That OChem. You and your OChem.
The organic chemistry between them is lit.
It is. And as a Bears fan, I mean, I guess I'm happy for him, but it's like he had a really good season with us and then couldn't get anything going. And I don't know if it was him, if it was the Bears. I mean, we're seeing DJ Moore struggle now. So my next wide receiver start is Juwan Jennings. It's not been talked about a lot, but he's expected to be back on the field. And if you remember correctly, when they've gone through injuries, like Brandon Ayuk is out right now, Juwan Jennings is the guy that has really stepped up. He knows the organization well, and he knows the offense well. I am a little curious to see how he does with Ricky Pearsall in the mix now too, now that he's back from injury. However, I think Jennings could come back and have a really good day if he's 100% healthy. Keep your eye on that.
All right. At tight end, I've got Dalton Kincaid. Keon Coleman is likely going to miss the game, and that should free up some target share for Dalton Kincaid. He's been a little disappointing this year. However, he is coming off of a 10-target game and is going against the Colts, who have been bad against the tight end spot this year.
Yeah, I like it. Other tight end, and obviously a guy that you're probably starting, but partially through this year, you were thinking, do I drop this guy? What do we do? We had questions. Do we drop Mark Andrews yet?
I couldn't do it. I hung on to him. And
we said you got to hang on. I've had the same question about Sam Laporta, and that one's even trickier because Sam Laporta is not doing that great. But Mark Andrews has been doing very well lately. In fact, in the last 4 weeks, he's the 4th ranked tight end in total points. That's how much better he's been doing. Isaiah Likely is out, so I think you can start him confidently today. I guess that's the game tonight. So get him in if you're going to get him in. Baltimore money line, Andrews 40 plus, Henry 80 plus, Jamar Chase 50 plus, and Chase Brown under 58.5 rushing yards, 425. Love that bet, Jamie. Nick Fortune saying Matt Stafford or Jared Goff. Who would you start? Let me think here. I think that we got to go Jared Goff. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Goff has an easier matchup.
Yeah, the Texans have been allowing a lot of passing touchdowns. Go ahead. Sorry, what were you
go
saying?
ahead.
No, I'm trying to pull something up here real quick. I didn't realize it wasn't open on my computer about the matchups.
I know the Rams do have a tough matchup, but I mean, he'll have Puka. back and should be getting a lot of targets to Puka. Puka should have a good game, and that should mean that Stafford should also benefit from that.
Remind me off the top of your head, I guess. Who do the Rams play? They against the Dolphins?
Yeah, they're against
Okay.
Miami.
Yeah, so that is a tougher matchup as
Mhm.
much as I like it, but
They're second against quarterbacks.
yeah.
So maybe that right there. I can tell you, I don't have Stafford and Goff, but I am starting Goff this week
Mhm.
in one of my leagues.
Yeah. I like it.
Confidently, I do have two other quarterbacks that I can choose from.
Yeah.
So,
So I think you got to go with Goff there.
mhm.
Jamie's got some other bets here. Make sure you go check out the Going for Two live. They do start sits on Sunday morning before the games, doing great work over there. Jamie and Kyle Senra. Prediction: Taysom Hill will be the number one tight end this week. I like that.
I do.
He ran the ball 5 times, been used more as wide receiver with 4 catches, second highest in the game, lined up at 4 times at quarterback, 7 at running back, 10 at tight end, 10 in the slot, and 4 out wide. Yeah, he's that Swiss Army knife.
Mhm.
We did the tout on him for our waivers this Monday of adding him because it seems like it's the time of year where he's going to string a
is.
couple games together.
He always sneaks into the top 12 somehow. Like
Yeah.
he sneaks in there because he's so versatile on the field,
Mhm.
and it's inconsistent though. Like it's
Yeah, it
when
is.
is it going to hit? I do think that this is a good week for him.
Yeah.
But it's the in between where you can't have him as your main tight end,
Right.
but he will likely finish somewhere near the top 12
Yeah.
by the end of the season.
Yeah, it feels like it. Matthias and I was wondering if Worthy in his 10-yard, I guess he had a 10-yard loss
Mhm.
run. I was wondering if that got you the game because I knew you needed to have negative points. He says, I know I wished injury on Worthy, but the little fuck came through with -1 points and gave me the win. Love it. Jamie also started co-host on the RPO IDP Plus Offense podcast. That's awesome. The IDP Plus Offense podcast. I just joined IDP Plus Offense
Mhm.
with writing, doing some game props. So go check that out. First article was published today, working with Gary
Mhm.
again. Gary's a great guy.
He
He's
is.
been on our show talking defensive props before. If you've tuned in then, we got to get him back to talk a little defense. I know he doesn't like the dirty O, as he calls it.
Yep, the dirty O.
But but we got to get him back. Should we roll through our sits here?
Let's do it. You kick it off like you said.
I
You're
will.
gonna-
I will kick it off here. This guy is hard to sit. I understand it. It's always hard to sit him, especially if Nico Collins is back. But
Mhm.
I'm going to say CJ Stroud. This Detroit defense has been really good, and they just added pass rush help at the trade deadline to help fill that void that Aiden Hutchinson left. You can't replace Aiden Hutchinson. I do believe he is a very, very good pass rusher. Saying nice things about the Lions, that's hard to do. But starting Stroud makes me nervous if you have a better option. This is one of those situations like don't sit Stroud for Will Levis if Will Levis is even playing this week. I know they said he's trending, and I'm thinking, why would you play him? Mason Rudolph has looked better. But if you have a better option or you were on the fence, I would sit CJ Stroud. What do you think of that? I know you're a big Stroud fan.
That's hard. That's a very hard thing to do.
Yeah, it is. But
I get it. Like
yeah.
I do get it.
That's why I wanted to say, like, if you can.
If you can.
If you can.
I mean, if he's also a stud, so he's likely your main guy.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends on who you have as backup.
I actually saw him dropped in 2 leagues this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is crazy because has he been putting up the points as usual? No.
Mm-mm.
He's hitting that sophomore slump, that natural regression
Stop
that
it.
I told you was going to
No.
happen. Did I not? I
We're
warned
not
you
talking about
this.
it. We're not. My quarterback to sit this week. I've got Drake May. Sorry, Cody. This is following the pattern of sitting the quarterbacks that go against the Bears.
Yeah.
They've been one of the top defenses against quarterbacks as far as fantasy points go. And even though Drake May has shown some promise, I think that this is the week you should look elsewhere.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. We've been hard on quarterbacks. So hard to say nice things about the Lions. Skull bloated, a Vikings fan. We are Bears fans.
We are.
And Jamie correcting, it's not the IDP Plus network, it's the RPO network doing an IDP Plus offense podcast. Okay. I was confused. But he did party with Gary at the Expo. Gary's a great guy. We met him at the Expo 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And yeah, he's a hoot. My sit for running backs, Javonte Williams for the Broncos. It goes against the top defense against the run. So it's hard to play him as far as fantasy football points go, that is anyways. And not only does he face the Chiefs, which is a very tough matchup, but they said this week they want to get Audric Estime more involved. That just makes it tough. How much more involved, we don't know. But whenever they say that, it makes me nervous. It's like Javonte Williams has been all right. Jaleel McLaughlin has been all right. But we want this rookie to be involved. And it's like, oh, shit, is he going to lead the backfield? Does that mean he's getting 2 more carries? What's it mean? And then just going against a good defense, it makes me nervous.
All right. I've got Tony Pollard. After running the ball 31 times, the Titans have said that they want to work on Pollard's workload. Tyjae Spears should also be back, which will take some of the work from him. And then they face the Chargers, who are the second best team against fantasy football running backs.
Textbook fades by both of us. I'm fading the one going against the top. You're fading the one going against the second. You got to. You have to. Bloated said, at least it's not the Lions, or worse, the Packers. That's the funny thing with Vikings fans. It's like the Vikings Bears is like the least rival out of the NFC North, it feels like. So yeah, I agree with that. Pollard's injury status today, it's hard to say. They said they were going to hold him out of practice and manage him a little bit. So you get that questionable status. It could just be that, oh, hey, he just didn't practice because we're resting him. I saw that a lot today. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. We will be doing shorts on Friday as much as we can. Saturday, some too, maybe. Going to be playing a little lumberjack this weekend on Friday and maybe Saturday morning. So might not be able to get him out as quickly as I'd like, but we'll try.
But that's somebody you should really be paying attention tomorrow on that status for him.
Absolutely. Matthiasen said traded Worthy for Stroud and started Stroud week 6, and he's been on my bench since. Sam Darnold has been starting for me in May on week 7. Stroud is an easy bench. Agreed. And
I think I just have a little bias towards him because he saved my ass so many times.
Especially last year. Yeah. You didn't want to believe me that
I just don't want to hear
regression
it.
was
I gave
coming.
you all the stats on how the sophomore regression is not really. Do I really have to pull those back out and show you?
No, you don't have to. But my point was, I wasn't saying it was going to be a sophomore slump. I was saying he had a freak rookie year and that there was going to be some natural regression away from that. I didn't think he could sustain it going into his sophomore year. Not because he was a sophomore, just because that year 1 was just so damn good.
All right.
Basically.
All right.
All
we'll
right.
see. I don't remember the argument going that way, but whatever you say, Justin, right now.
Let's talk about our sit wide receivers. I heard a lot of people ask questions about Deontay Johnson. Should I start him? Should I trade him? I heard some people saying, hey, I'm starting him tonight. He's going to do well. It's his second week with the Ravens. He only played 30% of snaps the first week. I still don't trust starting him. I really want to see once he gets going in that offense, how's this target share going to shake up between Flowers, Andrews, Bateman, and him? And again, remember, this is a team that runs the ball a lot with Lamar and Derrick Henry. I think it's a good move for DJ fantasy-wise because he's going to have more scoring opportunities than he had on the Panthers. He's got a much better quarterback, obviously, but I think we have to wait at least another week before we know truly how he's going to fit in this offense. I wouldn't necessarily trade him away unless you can get high value. But I don't know if I'm running to start him tonight.
All right. My wide receiver is Marvin Harrison. Sometimes I feel like
Marvinson.
I haven't called him Marvinson in a while. I broke the habit, Justin.
You did.
Don't start it again. But anyway, Marvin Harrison. No, Marvin Harrison. I feel like sometimes Kyler Murray doesn't like him. Honestly, because he doesn't throw his way as much as you'd expect him to. And in the past 6 weeks, he's averaging just 5.5 targets a game. It's 5.5. And 41 yards.
Yeah.
It's just not what you'd expect him to get.
That's low for somebody that was drafted the top 10.
And then during that time frame too, he's only had 2 touchdowns. Now he faces Sauce Gardner, and I feel like he could be in for a long day.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there, though, between him and Murray.
Yeah, it's weird. I truly think it's just that Murray's not that great of a quarterback, but that's just me. I'm a Kyler Murray.
Fired.
Right? I'm a Kyler Murray hater. I have been. I shouldn't say hate. Disliker.
Hate is a strong word.
But I really, really, really don't like him. Bringing back the emo college days. I'm going to go tight end
Glad
Sam.
you got that.
Yeah. Tight end Sam Laporta. I already mentioned him. He's no longer a guy that you can feel confident starting. He faces a team in the Texans that are fifth best against the tight ends. They're getting Jameson Williams back, who I think he's going to want to make a big splash because he was disappointed about the suspension.
Mm-hmm.
Laporta has just been bad. It's unfortunate because he was so good last year. He's had some games that he's popped recently, but nothing like last year. There's no consistency.
For again, this isn't even comparable to Christian McCaffrey's situation, but Sam Laporta was going pretty high in drafts too.
Oh, he was. Absolutely. I saw him go as the first tight end in a lot of different leagues. It was either him or Travis Kelce. So, yeah, people invested high on him.
And in auction leagues, paid high for him.
Yeah, for sure.
So I already know, like in some of my contract leagues, I'm not going to be, I don't know if I'm going to be working him in as a contract. I don't know what to do because is this the fluke year? Is this your sophomore regression that you talk about? And next year he bounces back and is utilized the way he was his rookie year?
So likely you contracted him already, right? If you got him his rookie year, you put a multi-year contract on him because he was the number one tight end last year and everything.
I actually got more shares of him this year compared to last year. So I
would yeah, that's a better position than what I'm in. I was just looking at a league. Since you talk contracts, I'm going to bring this up. I was just looking at a league the other day, and I had contracted Justin Fields when he was with the Bears for 4 or 5 years, I believe, because I love Justin Fields. I thought he's going to be running all over. And I also have Anthony Richardson contracted, who currently is not the starter, at least for the rest of the year. I imagine he may be again next year.
Are you going to take contract hits?
I don't know if I'm going to take the penalty or not. I haven't decided. Just haven't decided yet.
No, if you got Sam Laporta, if the ideal situation is to have picked him up in those keeper leagues his rookie year, where maybe you did get him cheaper.
Yeah.
If you got him, I got him in a keeper league this year, and it wasn't cheap for me, but I was comfortable with it.
Not no more.
No, I'm not. I would rather take a gamble and try to pick him up again next year for a much lower price.
How hard it was for you to repeat my bad grammar. Not no more. You're like, no, not no more. That doesn't feel right. See a couple questions rolling in. We'll get to those real quick.
I'll give you my tight end. I've got Dalton Schultz.
Excuse me.
Shut up. Okay. Enough. Get this show back on track. Dalton Schultz.
Yes.
Okay. So I thought when Nico Collins got hurt that Schultz might step up and start performing similar to how he did last year.
Yeah.
However, we didn't really see that happen, and he hasn't been all that efficient. He's the 29th ranked tight end. He's being started in 28% of leagues. I think it needs to be more like 0% of leagues. Schultz is only averaging 4.16 points a game in half PPR leagues. And I don't think that he's going to reach the 7.61 projection. He is definitely a tight end I think you can stay away from.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Jamie saying someone just traded Mason Rudolph for a 2025 second, currently the 202. I've never overturned a trade as commissioner, but also never had one this lopsided. Should I overturn it or leave it?
I don't like that at all.
I don't either. I'm very against overturning stuff as well, but
maybe reach out and see if everybody's okay.
I have done that in the past. Like if there's something that's weird, reach out to them individually and just say, what were you thinking here?
Yeah.
Like, why are you giving up a 2025 second for Mason Rudolph? Like,
is there collusion here? What is this?
Especially with, right. I mean, Will Levis expected to be back, and I think they're going to start him if he is. I don't think they're going to keep rolling with Mason Rudolph.
I don't see Rudolph being a starter. Like, not somebody you would.
I don't. I hate overturning trades, but you might have to on this one. I don't know. Maybe put a feeler out, see what people are thinking. I know if that was one of our leagues, immediately there would be all the what the fucks and stuff, people typing. So
we've also I'm trying to remember. This is a long time ago, but we took it to a vote as a league.
Yeah, true.
To overturn something because it was.
Yep. Nick's placing a wager on Deontay Johnson higher than 18.5 yards. I do like that. I think he's going to get some yardage for sure. Whoopsies. Tobias asking Gesicki or Kincaid. I think they're both good options, but I do think Gesicki has just been playing really well. I mean, he's had 100 yard and a 77 yarder, I think it was, the past 2 weeks, getting a lot of targets there as well. And so
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, Kincaid should get some more targets with Coleman out, but I think Gesicki is going to be pretty involved. They're both good options.
I think they're both good options, honestly.
Yeah.
If I'm going to weigh in and just say, I don't know if you could go wrong with either one. Just because Keon Coleman is, likely going to miss the game, and that's going to free up targets for Kincaid.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Nick Nick also answered. Thank you for answering, Nick. We love when the chat does that. If you see people asking, if you see people ask questions, feel free to answer. More opinions is always good. He also says you're disappointed by me saying bad things about Laporta.
Probably. My face probably wasn't happy during it.
Jeffrey saying, who would be the odd man out? I have to flex a tight end this week. Andrews, Hawkinson, and Taysom Hill.
Ooh, okay. Taysom Hill it's a gamble, but I think that he's gonna have a good game, and the way he's so versatile, it could be there's a lot of upside there.
And Hawkinson and Andrews have great matchups.
Yes, they do. That's
really tough. I think, man.
Sit Taysom because he's too risky?
I think so, because I think he has a good matchup. I think he's going to be used a lot, but you never know for sure what you're getting with Taysom
And I think
Hill.
for sure Andrews is going to.
I could make a comment for I could make a comment for Hawkins, or a comment. I could make a case for Hawkinson because he is just coming back from that injury. We saw him involved, but Josh Oliver was still involved as well. I could make that case, but I think a week in now that he's going to be better and he's going to be used more, and he has a really juicy matchup. This is a tough one for sure. Yeah, for sure. Andrews is somebody you're for sure starting. I have Lamar at quarterback.
Over Hill.
Hawkinson over Hill. Okay. And he says, I have Lamar at quarterback, so I don't know if the stack matters. I think that the stack is really good. Yeah, for sure.
Stack it.
All righty. Real quick before we keep going, got to let everybody know that we are brought to you by Rhythm. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do you even know what a sports betting model is? SGPN's proud partner with them is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds to get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models from the leaderboard, or press Build a Model for me, and Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop. And also, they got a myriad of stats, research, and trends analysis to give you even more betting insights. All you got to do is claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. We're also brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business. BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. Easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. If you haven't seen, Dogecoin is making a run. Get your Dogecoin in and make some money. U.S. players are always welcome, but they're also available internationally. And they were getting ready to give away that 1960 Ford Mustang. Miranda, I always ask you this one. First scoring method: Bengals touchdown, Bengals field goal, Ravens touchdown, or Ravens field goal?
Ravens touchdown.
All right, that's plus 145. Can't breathe with all the chalk in the air. Taking the favorite here. Just kidding. Use our link to sign up and get 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN so they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. All right, we are back. Miranda's trying to set her lineups.
I'm double checking.
Ronnie Daniels,
we always get to this point.
Gesicki or Jonnu full PPR. I think you got to go Gesicki here. I think he's a very solid start this week.
I would agree with that.
All right. Should we give out our best bets? Bet bets. Our bet bets.
Let's do it.
All right.
You can call them bet bets if you want.
Bets. I just want to remind everybody that, we got to tout a little bit when we're doing things right. We are up 42 units this NFL season, which is pretty great. Hopefully by the end of the Super Bowl, we can be at 100. But I think 42 is a damned good number. Anytime you can, let's say, just take $10 and turn it into 42, that's a good day.
Yeah. Yeah. If $10 is your unit, though, you're turning it into more.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just saying.
I'm trying to do your math there, and it's not adding up.
Do the math. Touche. That would be 420, right? Yes, 420. Let's give out a couple Thursday night bets first.
Okay. And everyone knows I like these longest receptions. And tonight I'm going to target a bounce back spot.
Okay.
So Jamar Chase didn't have a touchdown last week, even though the Bengals offense seemed to explode, and he hasn't had a reception over 20 yards in the last 3 weeks. However, weeks 3 through 7, his longest receptions were 41, 63, 70, and 33. And I think he goes over 26.5 today at -110.
I like it. I'm going to just do a simple one here. It is 4-1, though. If you didn't hear, Khalil Herbert was traded to the Bengals for a 7th rounder. He wasn't doing anything for the Bears. He's now going to be the backup because Zach Moss has gone on injured reserve
for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and he's out indefinitely too. It's a neck injury. Those can be tricky. They asked Joe Burrow about it. They said, can Khalil Herbert learn the offense in that short of time and play Thursday? And he said, absolutely. He said, I mean, he lines up next to me. So he could just, I can just tell him what he needs to do. To me, that screams that you're going to be down by that red zone and they're going to bring Khalil Herbert in, who is going to be hungry to prove himself because he's been sitting on the bench, even inactive,
which
a
is
couple
just
weeks.
Such a shame because he is a talented running back.
Yeah, he was our top guy. Now, I know a lot of Bears fans, they were, Khalil Herbert is better than David Montgomery when we got rid of Montgomery. I was not one of those people. I was very upset they got rid of David Montgomery. Never thought he was better, but there were a lot of Bears fans that did. I think he gets a touchdown tonight. I think they want to show him like, hey, we're happy you're here, and we're going to value you more than these guys. We want you to be happy here, and he gets a touchdown. That's 4-1 at just an anytime touchdown. But while we're talking about touchdowns, let's talk about the first touchdown scored.
Okay. It was really hard for me to go with anyone aside from this guy. But I'm going with Derrick Henry.
Oh, it's getting chalky in here
I know
again.
it's another obvious. This one, it does seem obvious. You could also maybe go with Lamar Jackson. Henry has been a machine, and he is plus 370 for the first touchdown, and I'm taking it.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with that. He has been a beast this year. Are to lead the league in rushing touchdowns that we gave out preseason on our AFC North preview pod is looking really good. It's looking really good. I went with the guy. I already talked about him. I alluded to the fact that I was going to talk about him again. Mark Andrews, plus 1,200, 12-1 to score the first touchdown. I just like what he's been doing. I think they're going to be able to use him a lot. And I think he's going to do well. Carbon 15, Mike Gesicki or Jalen Waddle. I think Mike Gesicki still.
Really?
I do. I think Waddle's going to have a little bit of a tougher matchup. That Rams defense isn't great, but it's decent enough against the wide receiver that I think Gesicki, I think he's going to have a big game. The Ravens defense is not a good defense. Thoughts?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm trying to get on board with what you're saying.
So I guess you might be wanting Waddle.
Well, I don't know. I do think Gesicki is set up to have a good game. I do.
Yeah.
So I think you can rely on that.
Yeah. Matthias and saying Herbert bet, I love it. You got balls. I do indeed. I gotta
can confirm.
I'm gonna get sidetracked a little bit here, but the Sports Gambling Podcast, the main guys, Kramer and Sean and CJ Sullivan was on there, the man in the box, who's also co-host with me on the UFL Gambling Podcast. Kramer was saying that the Giants are the number one team in adjusted sack rate. And I put a little comment in there that if you ask Murr on Sunday, she may say, I'm the number one at the adjusted sack rate. Sometimes I just can't get comfy. And of course, Sean had to put it up on the screen to let everybody know. So, Lord, I apologize, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Now let's talk about our NFL Week 10 best bets for the weekend.
Yes.
Because we got some of those as well. I'm going to let you go ahead and lead it off here.
Okay. I've got Tyrone Tracy over 74.5 rushing yards. This is minus 114 on FanDuel. We talked about him in the starts as well, but he faces a Panthers defense that gave up 155 to Kamara. I think Tracy has a big day over in Germany in the morning game.
I like that too, because you get a little morning sweat, play some action and kind of sweat over, man, is he going to hit this? I like that. I'm going to go with George Kittle. As Nick Fortune, a friend of ours, a big fan of the 49ers, would say, George fucking Kittle, over 55.5 receiving yards. That's on DK at minus 120. look, Travis Kelce just torched the Bucs defense. He had 14 catches, 100 yards. Now it's Kittle's turn. Kittle, I think he's had a better year. I don't think he has. He has had a better year than Travis. He's been more consistent. I think he's going to have a huge game here. I also like K. Dotton to have a good game against the 49ers. So I don't mind parlaying Kittle and Otten over their yardage. So I would parlay those two together. Or if you want to take K. Dotton's receptions instead, I like that as well. Little bonus bet thrown in there.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I've also got Jared Goff over 1.5 touchdowns. This is plus 110 on DraftKings. Jared Goff and the Lions offense have been performing at a high level, and he's thrown 2 or more touchdowns in 5 of the last 6 games. They're also getting Jameson Williams back from his suspension, who I think will have a pretty good game against the Texans that have allowed quarterbacks to throw 2 or more touchdowns in 2 of the last 3 games.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to give out a touchdown scoring parlay, anytime touchdown, because I can't quit them. And then I realized when I was jotting these down that I put Derrick Henry in here, and that's tonight's game.
Different Henry.
So yeah, if you're catching this tomorrow when Derrick Henry's already played, you can take the other 4 and still get good odds because Henry was the biggest favorite to do it. But anyways, Derrick Henry, Tyrone Tracy, Justin Jefferson, George Kittle, and David Montgomery. Put all those in. It's 17.5 to 1. I think they all get a touchdown. If you don't get Henry, or if you don't like the Henry one, I don't hate throwing in Gibbs either. I mean, Monty and Gibbs are pretty consistent to both get a touchdown. Now, Monty hasn't had one, I think, 2 weeks in a row now.
He's due.
He's due. Yeah, he's absolutely due. I just realized that I left that up.
Oh, great.
My bad. If you're watching on YouTube and couldn't see our faces, I apologize.
All right. And I've also got Justin Jefferson over 6.5 receptions. This is at minus 128. The Jags play a lot of man coverage. We talked about this earlier. And Justin Jefferson has been excelling at this. Not to mention when man coverage is lined up against the Vikings, Darnold he targets Jefferson 42% of the time.
That's a lot. That's a big target share. Miranda.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. I always like to lead with, I don't know if you know this, because anytime the graphic is released, I go and show you, like, look at me, look at your hubby. Tally Site tracks all picks from a lot of different organizations. Sports Gambling Podcast Network is one of them. You can find all our picks on Tally Site or on our website too, for picks against the spread, money line picks, everything like that, and for a lot of sports, not just NFL. But and they got people from ESPN. They have people from NFL Network. And I'm number 1. After 10 weeks, number 1 against the spread.
So you're going to give us an against the spread?
So I'm going to give you an against the spread 4 picks.
Nice.
Well, one of them, I guess, is a total. But 3 against the spread picks. I'm throwing all these in a parlay. I'm taking the Giants minus 6.5. This Panthers team got lucky against the Saints and won. I think the Giants cook them here. I'm taking the Vikings minus 7. They're going against Mac Jones. Brian Flores' defense against Mac Jones is going to eat him. I'm taking the Eagles minus 7. They're going against Cooper Rush. I realize Cooper Rush may be a step above Dak Prescott, actually, because Dak has sucked. But I think the Eagles win this game easily. I think this is a statement game of the Cowboys really realizing, like, yeah, we're cooked this year. And then I wanted to throw a total in here. 49ers, Bucks, over 50.5. I think there's going to be points in this game. I think these two teams can move the ball down the field. Baker has been a dog. Their defense has not been great, so I think 49ers will score 2. So I like the over. I like throwing all those together in a parlay. It's going to give you a nice payout. I believe it's like 12 to 1, 13 to 1. So throw all those together. The one I gave out last week, it pushed because, well, one leg pushed. It still won, but the one leg Patriots plus 3, they lost by 3. So that one pushed. But yeah, anyways, it looked pretty good. I like these ones this week. We're also going to be, I've had a couple of requests on the NFL Gambling Podcast. I used to do the look ahead lines with Moneyline Mac. Some people have been requesting those, so check out our shorts. I will be posting those because I've been personally betting them selfishly and not sharing them with you. And I've hit 5 weeks in a row teasing look ahead lines. So I'm not going to be selfish anymore. I'm going to do those. So
good.
Yeah, Thomas checking in saying Do I play Andrews
Oh,
tonight or
another
Hawkinson versus
Andrews.
Jags? Half PPR.
Hawkinson.
You got to go Andrews, I think. I know Hawkinson has a great matchup, but I think Andrews is just his play has been elevating. He's the 4th tight end the past 4 weeks as far as total points, 5th in points per game. So I think you have to go with Mark Andrews here. Hawkinson,
He has such a good matchup.
he does, but I don't know if he's 100% yet.
I know.
Can you click on game log? I see you bringing him up there.
Mhm.
What was his snap share percentage last week? It's to the left there, 45%. Does that say?
Yeah, 45%.
See, that makes me nervous. That makes me nervous.
His first game back, he didn't perform.
No. And yeah, I mean, that could be the first game back and he could be better this week, but I don't know if I trust it until I see it. Whereas Mark Andrews, like I said, 4th in total points in a half PPR league anyways in the past 4 weeks and 5th in points per game.
Yeah, and technically last week was a better matchup for him than this.
So I think you got to go Mark Andrews. Jamie saying, I noticed everyone fading Monty this week because of the matchup, but that just means he'll get the touchdown. Absolutely.
He is getting it.
Watch Baker's toe injury. He might not play. I did see that, but come on, Baker's a dog. He's going to play. They're going to have to lop his toe off for him not to play. Garrett checking in. How's it going, Garrett?
Hello.
Chase Brown or J.K. Dobbins, PPR. Man, Chase has a tough matchup, but so does J.K., and I think Chase contributes a little bit more in the passing game. So that makes me lean.
I don't know
towards-
how I would.
You'd go
Dobbins.
JK? Yeah,
I
make your
would.
case. That's fine.
I can't sit him, and I just can't.
All right. Well, J.K. Dobbins for you. I mean, Chase Brown has a harder matchup.
He
They
does
both
have a harder
tough matchups, I believe. Yeah, Titans,
and just because,
right?
just because of that,
Chargers, Titans. But I
Mhm.
mean, the Titans defense is good, but their offense is not good. So I could see the Chargers getting up and then they just run the
Mhm.
ball to control the clock. So I could see Dobbins getting a lot of yardage that way, getting a lot of carries because they're up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see why you
Dobbins.
would start Dobbins. Yeah, makes sense. Thomas saying thanks, you too. Thank you. We
course.
appreciate you checking in. Yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we get out of here?
Well, we have to do our drawing or
Oh,
giveaway.
we do have to do our drawing. Thank you for reminding me. For those of you that left a 5-star Apple review, your name got put in this little basket you got over here.
I have to find it.
Miranda's got to find it.
I just have to reach it,
There you go.
basically.
All right.
So we did put everybody in the.
There
don't
is
look.
everybody in there. I was just looking to see him in there. She's not lying. There's
I
multiples.
did. We usernames. So we're drawing for the username. So if
Yeah.
you hear your name, if it's your username, DM us on Twitter, on Insta, on Discord. That's the one I was forgetting.
Yep.
And
Jamie left a 5-star banana review. Sorry, only Apple reviews were eligible.
no bananas.
Yeah, sorry.
Never mind.
You want me
We're
to
done.
reach in there?
Yeah, you reach.
Okay. All right. We have, it's me. No, I'm just kidding. We have Go For It. Go For It. Is the
Gopher
winner.
as a gopher.
As in
gopher.
a gopher. Yes.
Like an animal. Gopher. It.
We have animals leaving reviews. I guess the animals love us.
So if that's your username, please DM us.
Yeah.
We'll get you set up with some awesome merch from the SGPN merch store, Old Fashioned Football t-shirt. Lots of colors, variations. I love our shirts.
I do like our shirts as well. Absolutely. So yeah, and if you didn't win one, but you want one anyways, they're available on the Sports Gambling Podcast store, sg.pn/store. We don't get anything from those, but it really lets the bosses know, like, hey, we like the show so much that we want to wear it and show it to people. The 5-star reviews on Spotify, Apple, that helps us a lot. All of that helps us. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Whether you're having a glass of whiskey, a glass of water, we appreciate you talking football, talking shit, talking bets, whatever you like to do. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, we sure do.
And just as predicted,
I know
my old fashioned almost gone.
Mine's still hanging in there.
Still hanging in there. But mine is almost gone, and this game's going to be starting in about 13 minutes. Good luck, everybody. It's
Yes,
an
good
important
luck.
week. DM us if you have other start sit questions on the X at Old Fashioned FB.
And stay tuned because any injury updates, last minute updates, we'll be bringing them to you.
Yeah, we're trying to give as much on those shorts as we can. So yeah, go out and win. Jamie says you as well. And my old fashioned is gone. Going once, going twice.
Sold.